This is a ReTV mini-doc, Celebrities Who Vanished Without a Trace. In this era of technology and social media, we know when and where celebrities are getting their personals waxed. No one could ever go missing, could they? It would seem that the age of Instagramming every meal and Facebooking shower thoughts for likes has made any chance of disappearing a distant memory for most stars. In the past, whenever a celebrity mysteriously disappeared, it was a huge event. Margot Kidder, Nick Stahl, Casey Kasem, and Agatha Christie are some of the celebrities who have gone missing over the years. Each of these people, however, showed back up a few days later. Sadly, we've also seen stars go missing and turn up dead. As tragic as this is, there is at the very least some closure for the families. But then there are the missing and undiscovered. For the families of missing celebrities in this ReTV mini-doc, there has never been true closure. In some cases, we have a pretty good idea of what happened, but others are much more mysterious. This mini-doc will cover the generally accepted official story, but if you want to hear more on any of the cases in this episode and every side to that story, make sure you subscribe to be notified of new videos being uploaded. When I get around to it, I will cover each of the cases in more detail. Links will be in the description and comments below for the cases that I've already covered. Let's kick this series off with Jimmy Hoffa. Before being pardoned by President Nixon in 1971, the infamous Labour leader spent 4 years in prison for the crimes he committed as president of America's largest union, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. The list of crimes included jury tampering, mail fraud and bribery. 2 weeks before Hoffa's disappearance, on the 30th of July 1975, federal investigators discovered that hundreds of millions of dollars had been stolen from the Teamsters' largest pension fund. Their attention immediately turned to mafia bosses Anthony Giacalone, known as Tony Jack, and Anthony Provenzano, Tony Pro, both of whom reportedly agreed to meet with Hoffa on the very day of his disappearance. While the suspects and motives were clear, evidence proved far more elusive. Officials later resorted to hypnotizing suspects and witnesses to gather evidence against the mob. It didn't work, however. The FBI began its search anew in 2006 at a horse farm in Michigan. The investigation yielded nothing. Hoffa's body has never been found. His son, James P. Hoffa, now presides over the Teamsters.
I am not controlled by him, but by the same token, I do not intend to go around and abuse the provisions of the Constitution of the International Union, of which you accuse Mr. Beck of doing by having dictatorial powers. Now, I want to be able to follow the Constitution in due time. This situation will be cleared up. If you recall, I took office almost just about February 1. I went through a long trial in New York, which tied me up. I had to question the monitors, which tied me up, and I haven't had much opportunity to do the normal duties that would have taken place if all of the various incidents hadn't came about during my short period of time as General President. In due time, these situations will be cleared up.
Mr. Hoffa, that would make a great deal of sense. I'd be very sympathetic if it wasn't for the fact that a majority of these people are in the Central States Conference, and people under your jurisdiction. You've got people in Detroit, at least 15 who have police records. You've got Joey Glimko in Chicago. I say you're not tough enough to get rid of these people then. You're in with every gangster and hoodlum in the United States.
I know a lot of people in the
You're in
United
with
States.
every place that you go. You're associated with the leading gangsters and
Mr. Kennedy,
racketeers in the United States, and
Mr.
it's not
Kennedy.
so shocking that you should be involved in taking the Greenleaf money.
Mr. Kennedy, it is shocking to even involve a man with that kind of blood taint money, and I don't go for that, Mr. Kennedy.
Well,
I don't go for that kind of action.
Well, then you could have arranged that, not going for that kind of action, by disassociating yourself many years ago from Joe Costello.
Why,
You could have done it from
Mr.
John
Kennedy?
Vitale. Every place you go, we've checked your telephone numbers. You're calling every gangster in the United States.
Mr. Kennedy, what has happened
You
maybe
have-
in the
you
past life of people today may be different.
You got Lieutenant Shoulder's son working for the Teamsters Union in
They
St.
may
Louis.
be nice people today. You don't give them a chance to prove they're nice. They may be nice people.
Bambi Woods. Adult film star Bambi Woods rose to fame in the 1978 film Debbie Does Dallas, which sold over 50,000 VHS copies, making it one of the most successful adult films of the time. Since the adult film industry was still teetering the lines of legal during the decade, Woods' given name was never revealed. The film was released after the actress had been in the industry for just 3 years. Mortified at the film's success, Woods vanished from the industry altogether. There are several theories about what may have happened to her. Some say Woods died of a drug overdose in 1986, while others believe she lives in Des Moines wanting nothing more to do with her old life.
Special. What's it like to become one of football's cowgirls? Debbie Does Dallas has all the answers.
Hi, my name is Bambi Woods, and it's interesting that I was chosen for this part in this movie because in real life I was a Dallas cowgirl. In this film, though, my name is Debbie Benson. The story is completely fictional, but could have really happened with a little help from my friends. Cowgirl, Debbie, I'm so proud of you. I got a great idea. Why don't we all work hard to raise money so we can go to Texas with her?
Bison Daly. The 6'11" Man Mountain, formerly known as Brian Williams, was an NBA basketball player who played with the Detroit Pistons and Chicago Bulls, among other teams, in the 90s. In 1999, at the start of the season, Daly surprised everyone and walked away from the sport and his $36 million contract. On the 6th of July 2002, Daly, his girlfriend, and a skipper took Daly's boat out on a voyage in the South Pacific. 2 weeks later, the boat came ashore in Tahiti, but it only had one passenger, Daly's brother, Miles DeBoard. Local authorities and the FBI worked to track down DeBoard to find out what had happened to the other passengers, but the brother overdosed on insulin and fell into a coma, dying soon after. DeBoard did call their mother to say that he never hurt his brother. It's assumed that DeBoard killed all 3 passengers and dumped their body in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but it will likely never be confirmed.
Well, Brian, you had a pretty good game tonight, 20 points, and this team seems like you guys are coming on real strong now towards the end of the season, aren't you?
Yes, we are. At the beginning of the year, we weren't doing so well. We weren't playing together. Now we're really playing as a team, so we're looking good.
Richey Edwards. Richey Edwards was a Welsh musician who was the lyricist and guitarist for the band The Manic Street Preachers. In 1991, Edwards was questioned about his commitment to punk music, to which Edwards, in front of the interviewer, grabbed a razor blade and carved the words "For Real" into his arm. The resulting injury took 18 stitches to patch up. Although Edwards often spoke out about depression and self-harm, he also said that suicide was never an option for him, and his friends and family have corroborated that. Still, on the 1st of February 1995, when Edwards went missing, immediately people assumed suicide. His car was found, apparently lived in, near the Severn Bridge, north of Bristol, which is a known suicide location. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, there were reported sightings of him in various places, but he was never found. His missing persons case was left open by his family for 13 years until November of 2008, when he was declared presumed dead.
We always knew we were like a rock band, but just the way we looked a bit different last year when we started getting press in like New Musical Express and Melody Maker. But like we were doing like Alice Cooper, Guns N' Roses covers when we were playing live. But those kind of journalists were not really used to that style of music. You know, they just think it was punky. Last year everybody wanted to call us a punk band. You know, when we were doing Guns N' Roses covers and Alice Cooper covers, I mean, that's the music we've always been interested in. And I mean, even now when the LP went in at #1 in the Kerrang rock chart, and I know some journalists who like really hate this now and look, it's just in your face. And they go, "Oh, you're still a punk band." And they're going, "But how can you say that?" And they just like living in this safe little world. We don't care about so many things anymore. You know, not like hopeful. We were like really naive about a year ago. And now nothing really annoys us anymore. We're sort of just passive despair.
Amelia Earhart. Arguably the most famous case in history. Amelia Earhart was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She set records, wrote books, and was a massive celebrity for it. Then, in 1937, during an attempt at a circumnavigational flight of the globe, Earhart's plane went missing somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, near Howland Island. Prior to the disappearance, Earhart's plane was in radio contact. The aircraft was having trouble locating its landing path on the island and was running short on fuel. The most popular theory suggests that Earhart's aircraft went into the water and sunk, although no wreckage has ever been found. Other theories suggest that they may have landed on another nearby island or was captured by the Japanese, and the US government apparently knew within weeks of her capture. And some people believe that she changed her name to Irene Craigmile Bolam and lived the rest of her life as a wealthy New York City banker. However, the official story is that it is still a mystery today as to what happened to Amelia Earhart. But if you want to know more about this case, the first episode in the ReTV Amelia Earhart series is available, and the link is in the comments and description below.
It's much easier to follow the Atlantic Ocean now than it was a few years ago. I expect to be able to do it in my lifetime again.
This is Amelia with her Lockheed Model 10 Electra in her final photo shoot with her personal photographer Al Bresnick of 5 years in Burbank Airport, California, just before her final flight that departed on the 1st of June 1937. The footage was taken by Al's brother John and was only discovered recently by his son after his death. So once again, thanks for watching. If this isn't the first video of mine that you have watched and you are yet to subscribe, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button now. Peace! You've been watching a ReTV documentary.